Report, Damon.
So I just want to highlight this operations report, 46 service line repairs in Jenny Lind, 274 underground service alerts in Epps Pass. So these are PG&E undergrounding projects. Speaking of PG&E, they have 21 projects on the pass currently. And for some of those projects, they have crews working 12-hour shifts, 7 days a week. And so the impact to our 3-person crew up on the pass is either trying to find time to report all these underground service alerts and go mark at the request of the project, and or responding to repair leaks that have occurred as a result of the project or the work effort. And then kind of following up with those crews. So our crews, there's a contractor that has a trailer set up behind post office in Arnold, and our crews are in there constantly trying to talk back and forth about ways to kind of optimize the effort. Because a lot of the time, when USA is submitted, it can be kind of a duplicative effort. Like they submitted it a week ago, they're going to submit it again because they didn't get to that portion. So if our folks can work with these crews and kind of understand where it is they're going to be, they'll kind of be in front of them the whole time, because they just issue alerts on Moss and they might just go work over here. And so that's a huge drain, and they still are able to complete great work. So just want to acknowledge that. Thank you, Kate.
You haven't done PowerPoint before, have you?
I have. Yeah.
I mean, to us, was it these are regularly a
Oh
power?
yeah, these are yeah. I'm old school, I guess. Nowadays. This is PowerPoint. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. Nice. There we go. So this one is called 1 for 3. So you expose the service line and the manifold that feeds 2 meters, and you find 3 leaks. And so there's what the manifold looks like. One service line going to 2 meters. You have a leak on an image on the left. You can kind of see that spray. And then the image on the right at the manifold, you can see it spraying in 2 different directions. So our crews just replaced this whole thing. One thing that's interesting about this image is the image on the left. You notice the person that has slides on, that is not a CCWD employee. But oftentimes when our folks are out working, they do have to contend with the neighbors who are, critiquing their work as they go. So just highlighting that there. And then, so this is a kind of an example of, we had an emergency. We had a hydrant runner break in the image on the left off of Little John Road, water everywhere, crews out in the middle of the night. And they're able to install the valve and a short section of new pipe to make a repair. And then they come back the next day and they pour a sanitary pad, they put the G5 in, and they make it look very clean. And moving forward, if somebody accidentally runs over that fire hydrant, we can shut the water off at that valve and then come back at a later point in time and make a repair. So this was kind of, I want to highlight this one. This is cooperation between the Poker Flat Homeowners Association and CCWD. A service line that fed the Homeowners Association's park went through a neighboring property, and CCWD was able to work with the HOA to relocate the service line to make it a much shorter distance and direct feed to the park. Just want to highlight all the PG&E and telecom in that USA on the left. And so all of that PG&E, the power sits in common trench with the water.
The same trench as the
Same
water?
trench. Yeah.
I think that was.
And our service lines are usually below PG&E's equipment. So we were there first. But there's a lot of conversations that we've had out in the field about.
What could go wrong?
Right.
I'd always worked on the assumption that you weren't supposed to put them in the same ditch, but you guys know your business.
That's right. No, I mean, so, as you all know, we're dealing with infrastructure that was installed many years ago. And the district has had a lot of conversations with PG&E about improvement projects for Copper Cove and Poker Flat in an effort to eliminate this issue. Excuse me. This isn't the only location where we have this issue. We have this issue up in Big Trees Village also.
We should, I mean, it's a troubling issue, and the power lines look a lot like water distribution lines.
Yeah.
We have a horrifying picture of an incident where a worker hit a power line with a sawzall.
Oh,
We should
Yeah, we
share that picture again every once in a while, just to keep it fresh in everybody's minds. Because it is, it's a dangerous situation. And it causes, Poker Flat, we've dedicated a lot of time and effort to replacing service lines out there, and it slows that work down. Our crews have to be really careful as they go through there.
That's really, that's right. Yeah. Service line repair in Venado up in the pass. And this is a great one. So this is one inch service line repair, just kind of what it looks like when we're going to issue an underground service alert. Going to put a cone out there. There's water on the ground, and then our crews come out with equipment. They're going to expose that line. This is an old galvanized line, and you can see kind of the image on the left. With water spraying out everywhere, and then the repair on the right. And then there's the whole kind of the aftermath of the repair work, and the image on the left, all your tools, you got everything out. Image on the right. And the temporary asphalt. So you all might hear from time to time, folks reach out to you about these temporary patches that are all over the service areas. And generally what our folks do is we're not going to call in a final pave on one patch. We're going to try to optimize the repave of as many of these repairs as we can so that we can take advantage of the best possible price for the work. And so usually that's in the order of 15 to 20 different repairs that are going to happen at the same time. So some of these can sit for some months. And that's a picture of what we pulled out on the right.
how much galvanized pipe is still out there?
Well, so there's a section of Halfway Pines in up on the pass that has a fair amount of galvanized, but I would say that's probably the only section. Sheep branch, yeah, sheep branch.
But it's all dissolving like this slowly.
Slowly, yeah,
Surely.
yeah, absolutely. This is a very, very interesting picture on the left. So this is a line break, a main break, and you can see, it's kind of hard to see the image on the left, but that is clear water down to the main, and the main has a huge crack right down the middle of it. And you can see the light of our employee there and his vest as he's kind of shining the light down into the hole. And then kind of what it would look like jackhammering out the asphalt in the image on the right to get down there and make a repair. There's a section cut out. And then getting into the hole in the image on the right to prep for the installation of a new section of water main. And then here we are again with that temporary asphalt and the compaction. And then one thing that we don't highlight enough is, after most of the folks go home on a main break, there's somebody that's flushing the air and any debris that might have become entered into the system out. And so you see that milky water, you're flushing a lot of air that's coming out of the system.
How often do we get leaks in the middle of winter? It's got to be miserable to fix that.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure we can hear story after story from these guys about leaks in the middle of winter at 2 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't tend to forget them. I would say that. All the ones that I've been on, I can remember. Yeah. This is folks working. Really, sometimes it's really hard to understand where our pipes are, where they're located. So, we hear back and forth like PG&E hit this or a contractor hit this. Sometimes that's their issue and we work to recoup money from them. It's their issue. Sometimes it's our issue. In this case, this water main took an odd turn and we didn't realize that it did. And so this piece of equipment, this excavator hit a tooth, and a tooth in the top of the main, as you can see in the image on the left and right, you can kind of see where that tooth hit the water main and sent a lot of water going everywhere. And so our guys jump in, pretty straightforward for us, cut that out and install a new section of the main. And then cleanup's always important. So this is a little bit, just so you can see like the class 2 AV in the image on the left. This is the backfill material to where that temporary asphalt layer will be. And then if there's a bunch of debris all over the street, we're gonna work to clean it up and make it look like that. This is an example of prepping for night work. So we have a PRV that feeds the Big Trees Village Shopping Center. And years ago, there was an issue, there was a leak on a section of pump section of pipe, very small, where there's a bypass, and you'll see these images that goes around this large valve that's from a leak, and it's repaired. And we had to develop a plan to go in and install a valve and install new equipment to repair it permanently. And so these are images of our crews taking account of what they're going to need to do the work. So you get everything out in the barn, get it out, get it ready, account for it, load up your trucks. So the shopping center is closed, all the businesses are closed, and we come in, jump down into that PRV vault. Excuse me, the image on the right, you can see that little pup is what gets from a leak. There's a welded line that went to that 2-inch pipe. It's going behind our staffer's legs there. And there was a full circle clamp on that just to make a repair while we figured out what we were going to do. And then ultimately we realized we needed to install a valve and new piping for that. And so cutting the old piping out, got the new valve there in the image on the right with the 2-inch bypass valve and piping. And then this is an example of, I would say, mild, light tuberculation, corrosion on the inside of that old valve. We've seen much worse, where the throughput capacity of the pipe is goes from 6-inch down to like that. So not too bad, but still some tuberculation. And then here's the old section pulled out, the image on the left, and then the new equipment and new valve installed with the new pup in the image on the right and the left. So this was all done, after some time. Construction crew gets together in the middle of the night, does the work. This is an illustration of work that's really going to help us understand how our pressures and flows operate up on its path. This is install an analytical pressure device on PRVs, and thanks to Kevin and his folks for the grant funds from the AMI project that allow us to understand water flow up on the pass and in the different service areas. So this is an example of that. We're installing some pilot controls on a clay valve, a pressure control valve, essentially is what that is. So we can convert that to flow. And then you can see inlet and outlet pressure and water flow on your phone. And we can then incorporate that information into our work order, basically our GIS-based work order system. This is a really interesting one. The collections crew got called to a blockage up in West Point and found the system in the image on the left they had hand formed a concrete pipe. So there's that gap between the white pipe and the green pipe, the sewer line, and they had poured concrete in there and just made like a little cave for the sewage to be able to flow through. I don't know, 25 years ago, 30 years ago. It seemed to be watertight, but when our guys found it, they destroyed it and replumbed it to make it actually operational and effective. So sometimes you run into weird things when you're out in the field. And we ask, as you guys know, we ask our crews to do any number of things, repair a retaining wall. So obviously, take it down, build it back level, clean it up.
Flush.
Grading work. So this is up in West Point. This work continues. Drainage work. So obviously you can see the drive into Lift Station 20 in Copper Cove. I think this is near Moccasin there. Director Thomas off Little John. It's kind of hard to get in and out of there. So the construction crew went in there and cleaned that up, put some rock down, make it look really nice. Cleaning out the sludge lagoon at La Quintana. We had a small forest of plants that were living on top of that sludge. So we were able to get a larger excavator in here and make quick work of all of that. Replacing failed culverts. This isn't only, we basically have a haul road that goes into our Copper Cove wastewater facility. And the culvert pipe had become smashed. And so our construction crew went out and replaced that and reestablished the road. If you did not know, we had a couple of days this last month where we were operating off the old Hunter's pump station at the Hunter's Water Treatment Facility. So not pulling water off of the tunnel tap at McKay's, but pulling water out of Hunter's Reservoir. And before we do that work, our mechanics and electricians always go in and verify the operation of the pumps. And so that's what's happening here. You see two mechanics in the image on the left, checking the oil, make sure those pumps are going to work, and the electricians jumping into the MCC in the image on the right. And then telemetry control failed, so electricians are replacing that here. Electricians, again, overload settings on a raw water pump station can wreak havoc on your ability to convey water where you need it to. And so we call out our electricians. They understand that settings are inaccurately set on these pumps. And we're able to go in and change the settings and ensure normal operations. Some of the work that our electricians and instrumentation techs do really just kind of is otherworldly, in my opinion. So here's a PLC, the Copper Cove wastewater treatment plant headworks. It's going to take all that sewage, it's going to grind it up, it's going to separate the trash, and it's going to push the sewage into the process. And if that fails, we need to understand why. So they're able to plug into the brain of the system and understand what's wrong and what might be happening and then correct it. Similar case here at the Huckleberry lift station. So this is kind of what it looks like, the ladder logic of information and how things are supposed to operate, kind of, if not this, then that, if at this setting, do this, and they can kind of follow that flow path and identify what the issue is and correct it. Mechanics and electricians working together up in West Point on the backwash return pump system. Troubleshooting the system electrically, turns out it was a mechanical issue, stuck check valve, so then the mechanics are able to say, hey, we'll take it from here. You can see mechanic Roy in the image on the left pulling the pump with his crane truck. Every once in a while you have a localized power fail, you call PG&E and they're like, no, the power's fine, we don't know what's going on. You guys have an issue on your end. And so our folks have to kind of walk the line on our property. In this case, they found a great blue heron and caused a power fail in West Point. So then you got to call PG&E out so they can take care of this. Set you back on your way. Participated in the Advanced Clean Fleets tour over at Colorado Irrigation District with our construction maintenance manager, Pat. It was really interesting to kind of see the kind of the larger aspect of the work that we do. It's just on a larger scale, do a lot of the same work, cover a lot of the same ground. So I usually don't share pictures like this, but there was a large group and it was a positive tour. This happened to be actually after the Air Resources Board had heard the proposed amendments for the regulation and adopted those regulations, which include no ACF requirements for small fleets in low population counties like us until 2030. And so,
Good job.
I'd like to tip the cap as the tour that we had with the Air Board really had an impact on their staff. They acknowledged that that tour really affected their decision making when it came to low population county fleets, especially the drive from White Pines to the Girl Scout camp on the 5 miles on a dirt road with the water main under us. And then, as always, we take advantage of the fire crew to do a ton of work. So this is at Forest Meadows where they're grabbing brush. Thanks, y'all.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.